I am 48 years old and I am on my own personal fat loss journey, body transformation journey. And what I wanted to do today is share with you four different things that I quit in order to start seeing fat loss as a woman over 40. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Heather, and I make videos for women who are 35, 40, 50, and beyond who are transforming their bodies, transforming their minds, and creating a nice, strong, healthy body to support you in the things that you want to do as you go through life. And so, what I wanted to do is share a little bit more about what has worked for me with regards to fat loss. So, I have been on a fat loss journey because I am currently prepping for a bodybuilding competition, but the same principles apply, maybe just not as extreme if you are a woman over 40 who just you want to lose a little bit of body fat. You want to feel like you look a little bit more toned or you look a little bit more athletic. You want to be able to see the muscle that you've been working so hard to build. And a lot of what goes into fat loss happens right here. It happens right here in the kitchen. Okay. That's where a lot of it happens. It's a lot with our diet, prioritizing protein, getting a lot of good vegetables, fruits, grains, healthy fats, things like that. So that's where a large part of my fat loss journey has taken place is right here in the kitchen. And as a result, my kitchen is always a mess. So let's talk about four things I quit to start seeing results in my fat loss over 40 journey. So the first thing that I quit was this all or nothing thinking. It was this belief that I had to be perfect all the time and that one meal that wasn't supporting my goals was going to completely derail me and that I was off plan and I just blew it. And so I might as well just go do whatever I want for the next day or the next week. I'll start over again tomorrow. I'll start over again Monday. I'll start over again the first of the month. I'll start over again on New Year's Day. It's quitting that all or nothing thinking that you feel like you've got to be perfect all the time. And then when you do something or you have a meal or you skip a workout or whatever it might be, that you feel like, oh, I didn't do the thing that I needed to do to support my goals. So I'm just going to go completely off the rails. And that was a big thing for me, was quitting that way of thinking. It's this way of thinking of this is a lifestyle. You are not going to be perfect all the time. I am not going to be perfect all the time. There's no expectation to be perfect. It's that you've got a goal and you're making forward progress towards that goal, but also living a balanced life. Like you've got birthday parties to go to and graduation parties to go to and weddings and girls trips and things like this that you want to enjoy yourself. You don't want to feel like you're in this really super strict regimented lifestyle all the time. And so if you want to have birthday cake or if you want to have a glass of wine, it's okay to do it. We're just not doing it every single day. Okay. And so getting rid of that all or nothing thinking really helped me as a woman over 40 to come back to myself, to come back to, okay, I want to feel good, nice, and strong in my body again. And I need to think about this more longer term than just over the next month. I need to lose 10 pounds or something like this. The number two thing I quit as a woman over 40 for fat loss to help support me in my fat loss goals was I quit obsessing over the scale. And this is easier said than done. I have made other videos and I've talked about this in the past that I am 5'10" and I have a lot of room in my torso, like the bottom of my rib to the top of my hip bone. I've got a good solid like 3 or 4 inches where like my mom, they're like pretty much touching. And so I've got a lot of room, which means I can gain and lose 30 or 40 pounds and I don't even change clothes size. So going off clothes sizes for me is a little bit difficult because I can put on 5, 10, 20 pounds and my clothes might feel a little bit snug, but nothing noticeable. Especially I like to live in leggings and yoga pants and stuff like that. Things are stretchy and I'm just not going to notice it. Me personally, I do need to weigh myself. That is something that I have come to terms with, come to the conclusion on that I need to weigh myself, but I've had to make this mindset shift around it, that it is a data point that I'm collecting in a sea of data points that I'm collecting. I'm tracking measurements, I'm taking photos, I am doing other things to track my progress. It's not just scale weight, okay? And scale weight doesn't indicate fat loss, okay? That's very important to understand, that just because the scale has gone down doesn't mean you lost fat. We want to make sure that as we're losing body fat, as a woman over 40, we need to keep as much muscle as we possibly can. So as you're losing your body fat, you need to be prioritizing protein and weight training, resistance training to keep that muscle. You want to keep that muscle that you've worked so hard to build. And so if the scale weight is going down, it doesn't always necessarily mean it's body fat. If you're not prioritizing protein and doing resistance training, you could be losing muscle. And it's normal to lose a little bit of muscle with on a fat loss journey, but you want to minimize the amount of muscle that you'll lose. And I think also that you could be losing body fat and you might not necessarily see the scale change. I always say that I am like the body recomposition queen. Like I can go up or down maybe 2 or 3 pounds, but my body will look drastically different. I actually had a video go viral, or a picture go viral in 2015 on social media. And it was a side by side of me. And I was thin in both and I looked fit in both. But in one picture, I didn't have a whole lot of muscle definition in my arms and my legs. But on the other picture, I had a lot of muscle definition. I looked more toned, what you might call toned. And that's really where you just see that muscle definition. You've got muscle and the body fat is low enough to support seeing the muscle. And there was 4 pounds difference between the two pictures. And I'm seeing it now as I'm preparing for this bodybuilding competition as well, that my body is changing, but the scale weight isn't changing a whole heck of a lot. I do use an app where I have to track my weight every single day. It took me a little bit of getting used to just understand that the weight is just an objective data point. I would have days where I'm like, I'm on point, I'm doing all the right things. And then I would weigh in the next day and I'd be a pound up or a half a pound up. And I would get so freaking frustrated. And that in the past is where I would just be like, why am I doing all these things and the weight and the scale's going up? I might as well eat pizza and have wine every single day. That was what my old mindset was. The new mindset is, okay, I probably didn't go to the bathroom. Maybe I had a little bit extra salt yesterday. Maybe I'm retaining some water. Maybe I've got a little bit of inflammation from a really tough workout. It's not that all the work I've been doing is for naught. Okay. So really getting over that obsession of the scale and either not weighing yourself at all if it is a problem for you, if you just get a little like about it, because I used to be there 100%. And maybe you just measure your progress in other ways. Maybe you measure your progress in taking measurements, taking photos, use the same outfit, take front photos, side photos, back photos, do that once a week. And over time, you'll see that progress. Or if you are somebody who likes numbers, I'm a very analytical person. I like numbers. Get that mind, just really work on that mindset shift of this is just one data point. It is my relationship between my body and the gravity towards the center of the earth. That's it. The number 3 thing that I gave up, that I quit for fat loss over 40, was skipping meals. Now, intermittent fasting is a hot topic. I've had a lot of success with it in the past. And I've said in the past that was one way I could basically keep 6-pack abs year round. But what I have found just doing that over a long period of time, I'm hungry. I get hungry. I don't like being hungry. And so what I would do is, I would either skip breakfast, have lunch and dinner, and then maybe a snack. And then I would intermittent fast for 16 hours. Or what I would do is I would have breakfast and then lunch, and then skip dinner and still fast for 16 hours. And it works. It works well for me. I just get hungry. I don't like being ravenous. I don't like being hungry because my issue with that is that rather than going and getting a chicken breast and some vegetables or maybe making a nice healthy salad or something like this, I will grab whatever the heck's in front of me and I will eat it because I'm hungry. Okay. And so what I have found for me is that skipping meals isn't something that I want to do long term. I did do some intermittent fasting when I broke my leg. I had surgery. I was on the couch for 5 months. I did do some intermittent fasting to help manage the amount of calories I was taking in per day, just knowing that I wasn't being very active, but also that my body needed proper nutrients in order to heal itself. So it did help me there, but it is not something that I do long term. Skipping meals for me really just triggers a lot of hunger. And so I'll do one of two things. I'll eat what I'm supposed to eat, like what's on my plan, and then I'll do one of two things. I'll either just have more of it, or I'll have what I'm supposed to eat, whatever's on my plan, and then I'll go and eat like another meal. I'll go have something else because I'm still hungry. Okay. And so it really just negates itself. You're using intermittent fasting or skipping meals as a way to manage calories, but then I get so hungry that I end up going over my calorie allowance for the day anyways. So for me, that's just what works, okay? Or what doesn't work, I should say. It might work for you. And again, I do use it for short-term situations, short-term, but it's not something that I do long-term. So if I'm thinking here about this idea of giving yourself a year towards your goals and your body transformation, your mind transformation, giving yourself a year, for me, intermittent fasting doesn't fit in that long-term goal. However, like I said, when had a broken leg and I was really trying to control my calorie intake for a short period of time, then I would do the intermittent fasting. Again, that's my experience. That's what works for me. Your results may vary. And the number 4 thing that I quit for fat loss over 40 is comparing myself to myself in my 20s. Okay. Now, if you don't know this already, I talk about this a lot. I've been lifting weights since I was 17 years old. I started lifting in 1994. I've always had a gym membership since I was 18 years old. I love going to the gym. I love doing gym. Thanks. In the late 90s, early 2000s, I was quite literally that person that would go to the gym. I would work out. And as I was walking from the gym door to my car, I would light up and have a cigarette in the gym parking lot because I didn't want to smoke in my car. So it's a little bit like business in the front, party in the back, right? Where it's like I go to the gym, but I also have this habit over here that's just not supportive of my goals at all. Okay. And so I don't want to compare myself to that. I do not want to go back to that. That's not who I am anymore. And I don't even like when people meet me nowadays, like they're actually shocked to find out that I used to be a smoker. It's just not anything of who I am. However, what I mean by not comparing yourself to where you are right now, to where you were in your 20s, is that your body, as a woman, your body has gone through a lot. All right. Maybe you have injuries. You've got multiple injuries. Maybe you've given birth. Maybe you've been pregnant. Maybe you've gone through some sort of trauma to your body. There's a lot of things that our body experiences between our 20s and our 40s and our 50s and our 60s. And I'm 48 and I know like I'm still young. I'm still very active. Like my body's probably not done being injured. Okay. And so understand that we're at a point in our life where we want to use this body to go enjoy life, to go do the things that we want to do, to be adventurous, to go hiking, to go camping, to play with your kids, to play with your grandkids, to ride a bike or run a marathon or whatever your goal, whatever your individual goal may be. And that taking that into your 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and even beyond. If you look at these women who I follow a lot of them on social media, they're in their 60s, 70s, even their 80s. They're doing amazing things. We just had a woman who's 84 years old, 80 years old. She just was the first woman to complete the Ironman in the 80 to 84 age group. So that's freaking amazing. And a lot of women who are active later in life, they've been active while they're a little bit younger too. There are some that start a little bit later in life, but there's a lot that if you start in your 30s, you start in your 40s and you carry that into your 50s, 60s, 70s and beyond, that's really going to help support you to be able to go hiking, to be able to go mountain climbing, or to be able to go run a marathon when you're 70, 75 years old. Not to say that you can't get started when you're 70 or 75, because you certainly can. It's never, ever too late. But my point is that if you're this person, like I always say, I want to be this 92-year-old baddie someday. Okay. But in order for me to be a 92-year-old baddie someday, let's do this shit now. Okay. So really just stop comparing yourself to where you were in your 20s. I don't want to say accept like you're accepting defeat or anything, but it's like, this is where you are right now. Focus on where you are right now and where you're going forward. We're not looking back. Okay. So those are the 4 things that I quit for fat loss over 40 that have really helped me on my own personal fat loss journey. There's more. I will make more videos, but I think those are the top 4 things that really were just a big mindset shift for me. Nutrition. I'm in the kitchen. Nutrition is a huge part of your fat loss journey. So if you are looking for a little bit of extra guidance on your nutrition, I have a nutrition guide. It's rooted in some yoga philosophies. So it's not super woo or anything, but it's about just being gentle with yourself, giving yourself grace, having some discipline. The discipline is what takes over when motivation starts to wane. Some very like sort of yoga philosophy type things. So You go to heathermonthly.com/nutrition. You can download that guide there. It's got some guidance in there for how you can take a plate and how do you build a plate? How do you build a plate where you're prioritizing protein? What does prioritizing protein even mean? Okay. So you can go there. If you're interested, also, we have the Strong Body 75 challenge. So when we're thinking long-term about our goals, I always say, give yourself a year. What if you gave yourself a year to really focus in on your body transformation goals, whatever they may be? Okay. But a year can seem a little overwhelming. So we break it up into smaller chunks. So 75 days is a little over 10 weeks. So we do one of these per quarter. And it's where you pick the goal, you pick the thing you're working on, and you join the Strong Body 75 challenge. And you get some accountability, you get a community, some prizes. You also get access to my portal where I've got some workouts, some yoga videos, some stretching, some nutrition support, recipe packs, all sorts of really good things in there for you that you get access to that during the Strong Body 75 challenge. So the idea here is that you do these Strong Body challenges, you focus in on your goal for 10 weeks, and then we take a little bit of a break for 2 or 3 weeks, and then we start up on the next challenge. Okay. So you can go to heathermonthly.com/strongbody75. You can sign up there. We are running these throughout the year. So if you're watching this later in the future, still go to that website. You'll see when the next challenge starts. Make sure you get on the wait list if you are waiting for the next round. So if you like this video, please like the video, subscribe to my channel, share it with somebody who you think might find it helpful. And also I've got another video here that you can check out too of some ideas for when we say prioritize protein. I got 60 different protein ideas for you. So check that out. Talk to you soon.